Import and recolor variable data external SVGs in Adobe Illustrator with Darty-Ai. Today, we're going to import SVG files and give them a color based on our Google Sheet data. First, let's explore how Illustrator and SVG interoperate by creating a simple Illustrator document with an area text frame, a circle, and a basic shape. Then, export it as an SVG using Export As. Inspecting the file in a code editor, here we observe that what appeared as a single text object is actually broken into multiple elements. And when reopened in Illustrator, this structure also appears in the Layers panel. The text is broken up. This decomposition also applies to many Illustrator native features that aren't native to SVG. For example, if we apply a live offset path effect to a single circle, it remains one editable object in Illustrator. However, once exported as an SVG, that effect is expanded into multiple paths grouped together. This is evident when opening the file in a text editor, and it shows a group node with contents. When reopened in Illustrator, we no longer have a single object with a live effect, but several separate shapes, meaning the effect has been permanently baked into the geometry. One reliable and powerful constant, however, is naming. When simple shapes and groups are clearly named in Illustrator's Layers panel, those names are preserved through SVG export. Opening the SVG in a code editor or back in Illustrator shows the same structure and identifiers intact. This consistency is what enables Darty-Ai to reliably target and recolor elements within imported SVG files using data. Let's look at the template. We have a simple Illustrator document with a background layer named BG containing static artwork and a second layer called Art where we draw a single circle centered on the canvas. This circle acts as our placeholder, and it's named My Shape in the Layers panel. With that in place, we're ready to move to the Google Sheet and set up the data.
The data for this template uses three Darty-Ai methods. First is the place method, which spans 3 columns. A file reference defined in the header as filepath::shapes, pointing to our local shapes folder, followed by clipping :false and fit::fit to ensure clean proportional placement. Next is name2tags, which automatically tags the newly placed artwork, bringing all its elements under our control. Finally, we use the appearance method with a fill color parameter to target the imported shape and assign its color from the data. Next, we create a few sample SVG files. Each one is a simple shape drawn in Illustrator using tools like the polygon, star, rectangle, or ellipse. For clarity, we fill them with solid black so they're easy to identify. We'll create 3 shapes for now and export them into the Shapes folder using consistent, predictable names. Each object is then named Shape-Color in the Layers panel, so Darty-Ai can reliably target it after import. This becomes even more important when working with SVGs that contain multiple elements. For the file names, we keep things simple and consistent, such as Shape-1, Shape-2, and so on. Since these are built using Illustrator's native shape tools, we can also use the contextual controls to adjust parameters like point count or inner and outer radii for quick variations. Opening the files to examine the contents, we verify that each of the SVGs retains the named object shape color, and they are primed for our big test. And now we return back to our data to populate the names of these new files along with color information into the spreadsheet. For the files, since we've got the Shapes folder set in the default of the file path parameter, we only need to paste in shape-1.svg through 3 into the file path column. And for the color column, we picked 3 sample hex values to easily be able to tell whether this test is working. Next, we go to the Darty-Ai Tags tab to quickly set the tag on the one named circle. First, ensure this circle is named My-Shape, and then click Tag by Names, all in the tag screen. As soon as this is clicked, the new tags appear on the tag screen. To start the Darty preview, ensure the Google Sheet is properly shared and paste its URL into the input box after clicking the Cloud button in the Data tab. Now the new data is loaded and the preview can be set. But first, if there were any changes, make sure to save the template. The preview is active, and now the test is ready to perform. As expected, the variable data replaces the SVG file and commandeers its contents by setting the new fill color. We now demonstrated importing and recoloring of a single shape. Next, let's extend this exercise to import and color multiple shapes within each imported file. For this next step, we duplicate the Shapes folder and rename it to Shapes with dash colors. Each of the files inside is opened, and we draw an arbitrary white-filled inner shape inside the outer black-filled shape. To differentiate its name from the first item, Shape Color, we label it Shape Color B. Each file is saved in place, and now we can update the data. To color the new secondary shape in the imported SVGs, the test sheet is duplicated so that we can experiment. We change the default folder in column A, the file path column, to say Shapes with dash colors. Now they will be imported from this new folder we just created. Next, the new appearance column is added at the end, targeting the secondary shape tag Shape-Color-B. To populate the test sample, we shuffled some of our existing values and pasted them into the cells. Now, after reloading the data by clicking the Reload button, we see that both imported shapes are colorized individually. Now that coloring 2 imported shapes is working, let us leverage today's LLMs to help populate more sample rows in a hurry, using our existing sample data. Besides aiding with formulas, the AI helps with generation of text-based data and adherence to a syntax. Here we paste in our existing rows into the prompt to obtain a ready-to-paste output, which is directly applied to the source sheet. Tip: in some workflows, generative text data can be stored inside lookup tables, special reserved sheet tabs, or areas for reuse via formulas. After copying from ChatGPT and pasting right over the copied area in the Google Sheet, we now instantly get multiple variations and an extensible system for creating even more. When running the test, the color combinations may color the same or different shapes with any combination. This is already quite useful, but is a tip of the iceberg when it comes to artwork manipulation with Darty-Ai. Thank you for watching. Find our other tutorials using external SVGs at https://darty.ai.